Just Trains have a good reputation in the TSW scene thanks to their high quality DLC, and although they've primarily focused on the British Rail in 1986 theme, their newest add-on represents a more recent time period. This is the Class 142 Pacer in her Transport for Wales / ex-Arriva Trains Wales guise. The Transport for Wales Class 142 was first announced in the April 2025 roadmap, and eventually released for TSW6 on the 26th of November 2025, only 1 week after the Cargo Line Volume 5 gameplay pack. The 142 is available on Steam for £13, or 25 New Zealand dollars, at full price, the same as normal locomotive add-ons and even CL5, which I consider to be overpriced for what it is. As an aside, does anyone else find it odd that, out of the 4 add-ons released in the TSW6 era so far, 3 of them are just gameplay packs, and none of the 4 were developed by Dovetail themselves? The Class 142 Pacer is not a new addition to TSW, as she was included in Just Trains' popular Blackpool Branches route of November 2023. That variant was supplied in 3 liveries and modelled with accurate details for the route's time period, which is the year 1986. What's included in this new TFW pack is not just a quick reskin of the existing Blackpool variant, as the model has been altered with details like LED headlight clusters, 2-leaf collapsing doors instead of the original 4-leaf doors, a GSMR radio module in the cab, updated door control buttons, different sanding equipment, and a new seat design. As for the livery, this is ex-Arriva Trains Wales with either no branding at all or transitional Transport for Wales stickers. The 142s never ran in a full TFW white and red livery. Alongside a new variant of the Class 142, this add-on also includes ex-ATW variants of the Class 150-2 and Class 153, the 2 units that come with the Cardiff City Network route. As you might expect, these liveries won't work unless you've got that Cardiff route installed, and while I'm on the topic of sprinters, I think the Transport for Wales Class 150 from the Cardiff route sounds much better than the more recent GWR variants from the Riviera line, or at least it did sound better before the GWR sounds got ported over. And before I forget, here's what the Class 142 sounds like when she's leaving a station. The Class 142 features passenger announcements, but these are not automatic like they are on the Great Western Class 802 and Class 150. Instead, you have to activate them manually by clicking on this phone in the cab.
The next station stop is Cardiff B, where this service ends.
You also get a new 2019 era timetable for Cardiff City Network, which has notable differences from the default timetable. Instead of the Corriton to Penarth service, you get one going in a bizarre U-shape from Corriton round to Rhaeadr, while trains leaving Penarth go up to Heath High Level, then off the map to Bargoed and Rhymney. With the exception of one early morning service that comes down from Corriton, all services on the Cardiff Bay branch are shuttles that only run to and from Cardiff Queen Street. As an aside, if we ever get a Class 121 bubble car in TSW, the devs could include an Arriva Trains Wales variant for use on the Cardiff Bay shuttle. I would also like to see the route coverage on Cardiff City Network extended at some point, ideally going to Barry Island in the south, and up to Rhymney and Merthyr Tydfil in the north, thus giving us a much longer route than the measly 20 odd miles that we actually got. The 2019 era timetable is busier than I was expecting, as it features 628 playable services for the Class 142, 450 services for the Class 150, and 441 services for the Class 153. If you've got the West Midlands and Cross Country Class 170 gameplay pack, the Riviera line, Great Western Express, and Cross Country Class 220, you will see GWR and Cross Country trains as AI-only layers at Cardiff Central. To my disappointment, the layers do not appear to have been ported over to the default Cardiff timetable as well. Using the Class 37 from Dovetail's Tees Valley line and Mark II F coaches from Just Trains' Class 86 pack, there's another layer representing the locomotive hauled diagrams that ran to and from Rhymney around 2019. Outside of when I needed to record footage for this video, I had the Class 37 layer disabled as this particular variant, the 37/5, is incorrect for the time period on Cardiff City Network. Her native Tees Valley line is set in 1989 as opposed to somewhere in the 21st century. To be fair, the Mark II F coaches are a bit more appropriate, since photographs of the real Class 37 hauled services to Rhymney show Mark IIs in blue and grey. If we got an extended version of Cardiff City Network that went up to Rhymney, you could also add the specific Class 37s that ran on the Valley lines in 2019. Based on the real photographs that I could find, the locomotives in question are 37025 Inverness TMD, 37418, and 37421. Unfortunately, I noticed a few bugs whilst trying out the content that's included with the Class 142 add-on. Firstly, there was at least one instance of the exhaust effects glitching through the roof. At one point, I saw an AI train moving with the doors open, and I don't know what could have caused this glitch. When I was running a service with two Class 153s, so that's effectively a Class 155, coupled to a Class 142, both 153s were showing the same unit number for some reason, and this issue with the 153 unit numbers wasn't a one-off. Personally, I can't help thinking that the 142 doesn't lurch and sway as much as I thought she would. After all, these units weren't nicknamed nodding donkeys for nothing. I also think the throttle lever is a bit too sensitive to keyboard inputs, and it would be nice if the horn had a bit more reverb. I don't normally have to worry about crashes happening on my end, but there was one instance where it happened while I was approaching Heath Low Level on a run from Cardiff Central to Corriton. Here's another weird thing. I hardly ever saw 150s and 153s in this timetable. The Transport for Wales services were nearly always run by pacers when I spawned on foot, while the sprinters would hardly appear unless I selected one of these units to drive in the service menu. Come to think of it, why did Just Trains not include the Class 143 as well? The 142s weren't the only pacers to run in Cardiff, you know, and this is reminiscent of Dovetail and all the opportunities they missed. In closing, I am of the opinion that the Welsh Class 142 is a reasonably solid add-on, but I would not recommend it in its current state with all the aforementioned problems still present. Even so, the modelling, sounds and physics on the Pacer are up to the usual standards that I've come to expect from Just Trains, and I also like the new timetable, which keeps the trains very busy despite the short route coverage on Cardiff City Network. However, one can't ignore the fact that the new Class 142 add-on costs the same amount of money as a normal locomotive add-on, despite this only being a modified variant of a DMU that we already have. As for where I would rate this add-on in its current state, I think it deserves a 6.8 out of 10.